Hello. I would say that this week's videos challenged me culturally. Patient-centered care is focusing more on the patient's needs and what the patient brings to the table in a patient-physician relationship. And I think that as Americans, we're very fast-paced. We're very, I want my care. I want, things to be quick. And with that kind of quickness can kind of lead to people not maybe discussing or feeling comfortable sharing everything that they need to in a physician setting. And, physicians are also paid more for the more patients they see. So I think as a culture, we're just very fast paced right now. And that can lead to people not feeling like they're being incorporated into their doctor's visits. So that is kind of one major takeaway I had from that and kind of encompassing all the videos I watched together. So some of the topics that raised concern for me or caught my attention was the video, How Can Shadowing Make Care More Patient-Centered? That video really caught my attention because it increases the emphasis on patient and family care experience. And it's through having a shadow, follow the family and the patient around and assess their needs. And I think that's something that's really important as in a healthcare setting. Because typically patients go into the doctor's office and that's all the doctor sees of them. And so having someone shadow them can really show what the patient goes through at home and outside of the clinical setting. And they also said the number one requirement for this to work is view care through the eye of the patient and the family. And I think that a shadow going around and learning the patient's experience is really interesting. Another one of the videos that kind of raised my attention was the video, What If We Gave Patients the Skills and Knowledge to Care for Themselves? And it was about this hospital that in 2009, they trained uninsured patients how to set up their own IV bags and ended up saving the business millions of dollars for the year. And I think that, that's something that definitely is a drain on resources. And they said it's the most untapped resource is the human potential. And I think that if more people were open to doing their own care, that were capable of doing their own care, obviously, that would be a huge thing for overcrowding in hospitals and bed shortages. Why not, if people can set up their own IV bag and an own IV drip, why not let them? There's utilities that you can use at home, show them how to do it one or two times, and once they're proficient, you send them on their own. And it leads to them being readmitted to the hospital less. And I think that that's a great thing. And then another thing that kind of caught my attention was alert fatigue. So what are the dangers of alert fatigue? That's something that I wasn't aware of, that how many alerts go off in a doctor, pharmacy or hospital setting, and how, it's become to the point where alert goes off and you just kind of swipe it off the screen. And people are so used to these alerts that sometimes they miss the important ones. Like in the video, they discussed how, they accidentally prescribed a patient overdose of medication, and that the alert went off for three different times, but no one caught it because of how many alerts go off. And so they actually talked about getting rid of the alerts that don't pertain to that patient, so that way they're more focused on the alerts that do go off, so that way they can make sure that they are catching things that might be happening with their patient. So I found that very interesting as well. Did the videos conflict with the beliefs you had previously? Again, I don't think these conflicted with any beliefs because they were more just talking about how to incorporate patients into a clinical setting. So I didn't have any beliefs on that previously because I think it is important to include patients in their own care. The video that was, how does a hospital involve patients in design? Working with the patients and their families for inpatient and outpatient care, empowering families, increasing quality of life, change in attitude, and the patient is a decision maker. It's their body. They get to decide. I think that those are all huge things that need to be incorporated into a lot of physician settings and that people don't really think about. And I guess for most doctors, in the video, the doctor said, it doesn't make me feel like they're questioning my medical license or, make me feel like less of a doctor. My job is to tell them their options and educate them on the best option for themselves. And then at the end of the day, what they choose is what they're going to go through with. And so I think that that's a big thing for healthcare providers to understand is that, if someone's questioning what you're doing, it doesn't mean that they don't like accept your credentials. It just means that it's their body, their choice. They might have a little bit more insight versus what you're telling them to do. Kind of a tangent there. Did the videos leave you with any questions? I guess the videos didn't really leave me with any questions. I guess if I had a question, it would be, is there a cost difference in patient-centered care? Does it increase the amount of spending or does it decrease? Because I would think that it would decrease the amount of spending, it'd be more upfront costs, but over time it would definitely save money, because if upfront you're looking at all of the things that go on in a patient's life, you might have to pay more for like at-home care. One of the videos actually discussed, what video was it? They discussed that you can send doctors, do discharge work at a patient's home versus doing it in the hospital, because hospital bathrooms and hospital stairs aren't the same as the stairs that they have in their house, and so it might be a little more expensive to actually send people out into people's houses versus doing it in home in the hospital. But in the long run, people are going to be more comfortable in their own home setting, which is where they're going to spend most of their time. So they're going to have less falls because they're doing physical therapy and therapy in their own house. So they're going to know the layout of their house better and where to adjust themselves, more than doing it in a clinical setting and then having to go home and apply it to their house. It's being directly applied to their house. So I guess it's just kind of, is the upfront cost worth the cost that they save? And I personally, I think it is, but I haven't, seen any stats on it. And then how do the issues or ideas expressed in the videos mesh with your past experiences or readings? As a patient, I've been to the doctor. I definitely have felt that sitting down with the doctor, they ask me, so what are your concerns? What would you like to talk about today? You start talking, and then they're just typing on the computer the whole time. And it kind of does make you feel like they're valuing the electronic version of you a little bit more than the in-person version of you. And I know that you can't blame the doctor on that, because they have to code everything. And they have to put everything in, and if they miss one thing you say, then it could, lead to you not getting a prescription or something you need. But just not having the eye contact, you're just kind of listing off the things that you want to talk about and the doctor's just typing away. It can make it feel a little harder to talk and have those conversations that can really open you up about your health needs. It makes you feel like you're just more, letters and numbers on a screen. And so I think that that's something that's really important. And I think that's something we can all relate to as patients. But overall, I found these videos very enlightening and interesting to watch.